Hey there, Professor Wiseguy here, and I got to tell you something. It is a good day. I didn't have to go to school today. Now, don't get me wrong. I like my job. It's a good school, and I have a good job, and I have no complaints. But it's nice to be able to be at home and do some things here. You know, I have a good home and good things to do here, including making what I hope is a good video. So it's all good, you know. Had a good breakfast. Now I'm working on this video. Great. If you noticed, perhaps, I used the word good there. Well, I didn't count how many, but I used it a lot. And I have a point to make, and that's the whole point of this video, and that is the word good, like a lot of words in the English language, is something that we think we know what we mean, but we don't always know what we mean. Now you might say, Wiseguy, good depends on what it's attached to. You know, for example, a good car is very different from a good chair. And I would agree. Good is an adjective, and it, like a lot of adjectives, it kind of depends on what it's attached to. But I'm going to suggest to you that you don't mean the same thing as everybody else when you use the word good, and it's attached to the same thing. For this little exercise, I'd like you to take out some notes or something that you can write on, because this is an audience participation video. Obviously, you're the only person watching this video at this moment, and you can't see what anybody else says, but that's okay. I've got a plan for that. I've done this little exercise in classes for a number of years, and I keep doing it because, well, it's a really good, oh, there I went again. It's a really good exercise. It illustrates the point very, very well. So you got something to write with, and let's take the word good and attach it to, let's say, grades. Okay, we all want to make good grades. Now, I think we can all agree that a 4.0 is a good grade point average, right? I mean, they don't get any better than that in college. So 4.0 is good. And surely we can agree that like 0.0 is not good. Now, somewhere between 4.0 and 0, it goes from good to not good. It might not be bad, but it stops being good. So what is the lowest grade point average you can have and it still be good? Okay, have you written it down? You didn't write it down. Okay, thank you. All right, we've all decided on the lowest grade point average that can still be considered good. Now let's turn and see what a recent class said about this very thing. Let's bring down the magic whiteboard. All right, they said, a class of about 22 people on that day, they said that the good grade point average ranged from 3.7, okay, down to 2.3. Now that's a big difference. If you say to somebody, I make good grades, they might mean anywhere from 3.7 to 2.3. That's a difference of 1.4 grade points, or almost a whole grade level and a half. So really, we don't know what we're talking about when we say good grades, do we? Well, why are you getting good grades? You're probably trying to get good grades because you'd like to get a good job someday. So I would like you to imagine a salary for a good job. Congratulations, you've just gotten a good job with a good salary. What will that salary be for it to be good? All right, think about your idea. Now we'll bring down the magic whiteboard and see what that class said. And they said everywhere from a low of $50,000 a year to a high of $100,000 a year. By the way, if you think in terms of hourly, then just multiply by 2,000, and that'll give you a rough notion of what your salary could be. That's a difference of 50,000, or a difference of a factor of 2. So, wow, we mean something very different when we say 50,000 and 100,000, don't we? To mean good. Actually, in another class I had, somebody said $32,000 a year in that same day. And I thought, wow, 32, that's $16 an hour. That's really probably something you could go get in by working well at, say, Walmart or Target right now. But I don't know. All right, why did you get that good job? Well, because you wanted to make a good living, yeah, and we figured out what that means. Well, to get to your good job, you're going to want a good car, right? So, how much are you going to have to pay for a good car? All right, write your idea down, magic whiteboard, and let's see what that class said. They said a low of $11,000 and a high of $56,000. That's a difference of $45,000. That's a big difference. Now, 56 was a nicer new car. 11,000 is almost certainly a used car. Doesn't matter. They said good, and they meant those different things. Wide range of things, wide range of answers. Now, you've got your good job and you've got your good car. You probably ought to have a good home to park your good car in front of, and where you can sleep and things like that. So how much is it going to cost you to buy a good house? Now, this one I have to be a little bit picky. When I do this in class, it's always in the Kansas City metropolitan area, because you can go to little bitty towns somewhere in the hinterlands and buy a very nice house for a lot less money than you can buy them here. Or you can go to San Francisco or Boston and you can't get anything. You get a phone booth for $200,000. So this is in the Kansas City area, which may or may not mean anything to you. That's okay. Write your number down. Got it? All right. Here's what the class said. They ranged from a low of $120,000 up to a high of $600,000. That's a factor of 5, or $480,000. Wow, a good house. That's a big difference. All right, well, you've had a pretty good week. You graduated with a good grade point average. You got a good job with a good salary. You bought a good car. You bought a good house. You really ought to celebrate, don't you think? How much will it cost you for dinner for 2 at a good restaurant? All right, same deal. Write it down. What did the class say? Let's look. Their numbers ranged from a high of $300 to a low of $8.72. This guy's going to go to Wendy's. Okay, that's a little bit extreme. A difference of $290 some. But realistically, I've had people often put $30 down. 300 down to 30. Big difference, factor of 10 when we say good. So, what does all this add up to? It adds up to the fact that the word good, like a lot of words, just doesn't mean nearly as much as we think it means. So we have to be much more specific. We have to hem things in and make them clear and make them definite. Or otherwise, somebody's thinking fancy steakhouse with bottles of wine when you're talking about Wendy's meals. Is that good? That's not good. All right. Well, that's just a little something to think about. You thought about it. I guess that's good. Good. See what I did there? If you have your answers all written down, put them down in the comments below. I'd be interested to see what you came up with. And other than that, get out of here.